Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's stream. We have the teams. What teams do we have here today, Artillery?
We have Mighty Monash Power Rangers from Monash University and also J for Genius from Melbourne University as well.
Yes, and it looks like quite the interesting startup here at the moment. We've got ourselves a Z ban as well as a Jana ban. Jana ban has been quite effective as of late, as well with Zed. Zed's always been the very classic pick, the very classic ban on top of as well. Is his ability kit just enables him to be a picker, essentially coming in from behind. He doesn't need to separate somebody to do something. He can still be within a team fight range. He doesn't need to be a Kha'Zix, essentially. He can still be vital to a team situation.
Yep, so just for everyone watching, we do have the Mighty Monash Power Rangers on the right side, while we have J for Genius on the left side. And obviously now with Gangplank, quite the meta pick right now, obviously with Kleptomancy being able to scale up to that epic late game where the barrels do truly count. And basically that split push with the Kleptomancy is just able to get him past that weak landing phase with Jax, Malzahar. Jax, once again, great split pusher. Malzahar with the lockdown extremely well throughout most of the phases of the game, actually, once he hits 6. So right now we're going into the first pick phases. Let's see what... Let's just call him Lord, because I'm not sure if I can pronounce that second word.
We'll stick with Lords, that way it's easier to slip off the tongue. It can get a little bit tedious when you're trying to, say the actual individuals' names. And I'd say as well, like when it comes to the in-game moments, it's easier to also just say the champion's name, because people, more or less recognize the champion rather than the actual summoner behind the champion.
Fair enough.
Being a small time being a small time university rumble, like we won't be able to get every single summoner's name, and sometimes just being a startup, it's just easy to go by the champions. And for the viewers at home, they will be able to recognize the champion over the summoner. I myself can sometimes have a problem with trying to understand who they're talking about when I'm looking at the map, or when I'm looking at the actual screen. All I see is champions, and when they say a summoner's name, I'd be like, who the hell is that supposed to be? Which champion are they playing? I'm more interested in seeing which champion is coming from where and what's going on. Like the summoner name for me just sort of throws me out of whack.
Yeah, fair enough. And as we can see, Thresh and Sejuani picked up for the Mighty Monash Power Rangers along with Lulu. I would say Thresh is the more power pick right here, just because of since the Ardent Sensor meta has fallen out a bit with those engaged kill lane supports with combination of Aftershock would give the slight advantage to Melbourne, sorry, my mistake, Monash University's bot lane, as you can see. Ezreal?
I would assume that might be an
Being
Ezreal as well, but seeing as SKT SKT1 crazy, I see we have an SKT fan here. Picking the flash and heal for the mid lane possible pick at the moment. It could be very interesting. He might be playing Ezreal mid lane. We don't know. We'll have to wait to see how we go in the second round of picking. As we come into the second phase of banning, what do we see here, Artillery? Artillery, are you with us?
Right.
I apologize, folks. We seem to have lost Artillery here for a moment. To help out here, we have ourselves the classic Warwick ban. Warwick's quite the range-based champion. He can be completely AD. He can be completely tank. It's essentially he can be an all-round champion. And coming in with the Victor, I have not seen Victor very often in this meta at the moment. In this current preseason, he has been a little bit absent. So I'm curious as to why he has been banned at the moment. I assume it's Monash on the right. I'm still trying to get the teams right here. But I'm curious to see why
Monash
they
is
think
on the right.
fresh.
Yeah.
Monash on the right. Thank you. And welcome back, Artillery. Glad to have you back with us.
Yeah, sorry. It's just slightly lagging here and there.
And coming over to the left-hand side, we seem to have two ADC bans. Caitlyn, a very classic long-range poker, as well as a Callista. Callista is also a sort of a rare champion to find at the moment. But apparently, as at the season end, she also managed to claim the most shot calling awards for every single game, all the way up until recently.
Hmm. Interesting actually that you say Callista's banned because considerably in professional play, Callista is that power pick, just being able to get that early to mid game power spike, being able to close out most games before you get to that late game where, as we see from Monash University, they have opted into that Tristana, that late game power, which is able to have that significantly higher range than the Caitlyn, surprisingly. And obviously with the Maokai, such a stable tank in the meta, still going quite well despite the rune changes. Excellent synergy with Aftershock.
Completely true. And with Callista being on the ban list, she could also be quite the formidable foe, especially when initiating a team fight. With her ability to Solomon oath with an allied champion. If it is a gutsy champion, like in this case Jarvan 4, she decides to oath up with Jarvan 4, or better yet, a Lulu to engage in a fight. Monash could be put in a pickle. They might be very scared. They might have to, put themselves in a quick spur of the moment thinking position. And, being in League of Legends, that is probably one of the least, situations you want to put yourself in, because sometimes you could just forget everything you had in your mind right up until the last moment. And as we see here, we have encountered some form of difficulty. I assume if we can get a
Possibly
hold
could
of the
be
stream, if we can get a hold
a
of the streamer, we might possibly go to a quick little break while we fix this up.
yep. Oh, good. Yeah, sorry by the way if I cut out. Just lagging a tiny bit. Sorry.
We apologize for that slight little technical difficulty. I am joined back with Artillery. We are just quickly redoing the ban phases. I'm not 100% sure. We possibly had a slight client bug out. It seems to be quite common. Well, it seems to be more frequent, happening ever since the patch update that happened on Tuesday for us.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. It's quite strange. Like sometimes I've been left in lobby music once I get into game. The lobby music is still going through, so might need to patch that up, right?
I hope they patched it up by Tuesday next week, because I assume that a lot of people will be very annoyed, especially with the current start to the season. There seems to be quite a lot of hickory dickory happening with the changes to the ranking system itself.
Yeah, considering but like I remember from last year, a lot of players were shocked that they were placed lower than their rank that they had achieved, and even now, even this year was even lower than last year. So let's
Yes,
just have to see what will happen.
that is true. And I believe on the first night of reset, the highest rank that was achieved was Diamond 5. Looking at the Summoners leaderboard for Oceania itself, as well as North America, EU West, and all the other servers, Diamond 5 was the highest achievable rank. So that must have
Wow,
been quite a drop
jeez.
for this year's start to the ranking season. But it also means
Hmm.
that it is a fresher start, and more people have the opportunity, or should I say, everybody has equal opportunity to try and achieve that master/challenger rank this time around, especially this early into the season.
So hopefully everyone watching, you will be able to get that desired rank. You will at the end of the year, or even during the preseason. But obviously, that's what we all try to do. Try and get that good at the climb of bronze.
Looking over to drawing your attention over to the actual champion selection, we seem to have a new set of champions being picked. We still see the Jarvan 4 with the Vel'Koz, but in the jungle we see a Kayn this time around. He's a very powerful champion. He can be played, multiple. I'll say multiple rune styles. You've got the electrocute, you've got the dark harvest. I may have seen the occasional,
Press the attack,
yeah,
Kane.
press the attack, not so much because you'd need to get basic attacks out on them. He doesn't
No,
act like a Shyvana where, one attack and he already gets 2 stacks off. He's actually got a basic attack him, and with a Kane, that can be a little bit, tedious. It sort of draws the fight out a little bit longer.
yeah. But obviously, I believe Kane is sort of trying to match that early power to Sejuani. Not many people know that actually Sejuani is, compared to her previous set of abilities before her miniature rework with the tank class update, she was actually quite weak before her level 6. But right now, with that permafrost in the E being the guaranteed stun, does actually give her quite a lot of early game power. So we'll just see if Kane and Sejuani will really be battle warding over that early jungle.
Completely correct, and it is a very well standing moment you've put us in there. But looking over at the team makeups, we've got a quite interesting matchup. We've got Sejuani, Maokai, Thresh as the potential frontline takes, and over to the left side we see a Jarvan 4, a Kane, and a Lulu. It looks like it's going to be a bit of an interesting matchup. I feel that Monash, I believe it's Monash on the right. I mean, it's going to take me a while to get these name right, folks.
Monash on the right.
They look like they would have a very powerful, team fight initiation tactic. With the Sejuani ulti to, pick him off, as well as with the Maokai and his outstandingly large ulti range. Both wide, width and length of its ability. And then you've got the Thresh who can just, hook someone in from the side and, give them that death sentence that he's always been trying to give them. The Azir, I'm curious to see how Azir will also play out in this match. He's a bit of a rare player. He's a bit of a rare champion to come by, but he's been coming up quite a lot within the higher ranks.
Yeah, interesting you say that. Obviously, Monash, they are looking to be the more powerful late game team fighting composition. But don't forget, if that Jarvan is able to secure that 2 or 3 man Cataclysm, you have a Vel'Koz with the Lifeform Disintegration Ray. Don't forget, if you have 3 stacks on that, it will deal true damage on top of the magic damage it has already done. And considering that with the Cataclysm, the Kane, if he does opt into that red form, the Ras, the Darkened form, he is able to land that knock-up within the Cataclysm. Ezreal will be free firing from the backline. Lulu will be able to deal with any threats that come out. That Maokai suddenly flashing in onto the Ezreal or the Vel'Koz. But who knows? It is a very situational team fight composition for Melbourne University. But once again, it's all up in the air.
That's a very good picture you've painted for us. Like, if Kane decides to go into Ras form instead of to Shadow, it'll be quite the knock-up team combination. Like, you'll have Jarvan 4 with his Cataclysm to lock them all in. Kane with Ras form to knock them up, and a Lulu ultimate to top it off as well, depending on who she uses it on. I assume she might use it on Jarvan 4 to continue the lockdown on Monash University's team makeup at the moment. But either way, it really depends on how these teams play out, like how they play individually, and if they have the team synergy to be able to make the plays that we are hoping to see tonight.
Yeah, and like I said, why I said deliberately Kane going into his red form is if you look at that the front line from Monash, a Maokai being able to sustain very well with the Sap Magic passive, Sejuani naturally tanky from the passive as well. Azir and Tristan are both very powerful late game champions, but considering that they are able to have enough time for Azir to get the 3 soldiers, enough for Tristana to use the explosive charge, to use the draw the bead range in order to get those advantages that both of them would naturally have in the late game. That's where the sustained team fight, that's where Monash are looking for. And Kane, we all know that he has spell vamp on his abilities once he pops into that Rust, so merit for a red form Kane to just constantly fight, knock up, go in, knock up again, use the humble trespass on someone, maybe to just dodge a few skill shots, and just to survive.
And speaking of the 3 soldier combo, when Azir hits 3 soldiers, he gets an attack speed boost. And since his soldiers, act as the basic attack range for Azir when he comes in range. That is just pure magic damage that he's just going to wail onto the enemy team. You know, if he gets himself in the right position, he's going to put a lot of hurt onto them, especially if they like the magic resistance that we're hoping that they will, you know, be able to build and counteract to create some problems for Anubis. And coming into the loading into the map, remember we have to stop at 20 seconds to sync up.
Yep, I'm at 15 now, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, paused.
And we are completely synced up. Artillery, I take this startup over to you. What do we see here to start off with?
Obviously, we do see quite the standard fanning out from both of the teams, relatively staying towards their jungle. Surprisingly, Thresh in the mid lane. Usually you would see Sejuani, perhaps Sejuani going for that blue side start. Maokai obviously checking up towards that tri-bush.
Coming into that small little pause as we have an unfortunate disconnection from Maokai. Sigma Squared must have had a little interference with his internet. That is completely fine and is completely common. For those of you watching, give him a little bit of freedom of movement. We all don't have cable internet. Some of us might be still stuck on the old ADSL, depending on where we are and whatnot. I, for one, have only just recently been able to actually upgrade to the NBN, seeing as the NBN within my city has actually been taking its time to, completely unlock to every single household. That a lot of people in my city will still go without, very good quality internet until at least next year when the construction is finally completed for them. If we look over to the minimap, seeing as this game is paused, if we direct our attention to the minimap, we see a nice line between both sides, both red and blue. It looks like they are trying to make sure that, that either team is not trying to cross the river for that, potential early gank and put, either jungler behind. Because, when one jungler goes behind, it can sort of, open up a whole room of errors for that champion later on. Always run, could possibly fall behind, or maybe even the false algae bro. I assume that's how you say his name, but since that's a little bit confusing, I'm just going to go with Kane in this instance.
Yeah, let's just go with Kane there. And obviously, I think what the blue side they are trying to do, what Melbourne the University, is just because of the Thresh. The Thresh giving the hook, given even the Flay is able to use such good invasion potential, and they're just trying to form a defensive barrier, making sure there aren't any sneaky invades coming in towards any side of the map.
Absolutely again, correct. Absolutely right.
We're just waiting through. Yep, here we are. Minions just spawning in the lanes. Has hit 130 already. Game has started. Interesting thing to note on the side of Melbourne University is that they don't have any true tank opposed to Monash. They do have the J4, which is still slightly tanky in his own right, but it's not on the scale of a Maokai or Sejuani frontline. So it'll be interesting how they deal with that.
That is exactly why I pointed those champions out before in the champion lobby. It is interesting to see that, Monash has at least 3 good frontline tanks, whereas we see on, I'm sorry, I forgot, what is the other team again that we are playing with today?
Melbourne University on the left side.
Melbourne University. It's interesting, I'm interesting to see how they'll play this out. Will they just try and go for the, the picking situation, or just, the wombo combo? Whereas, Monash seem to have themselves quite evenly squared up. They're looking to go for that, frontal assault. I'll put it at this stage.
We see a bit of a trade in mid lane.
Yeah, so Azir coming in with the soldiers to start off, and Vel'Koz coming in with the slight ability and poke. Kane trying to come in from the side, but unfortunately is met by always running. Sejuani can be quite the gap closer, especially with her dash. In this early stage of the game.
Hits that level 2 or level 3 power cycle, a bit of trading up in top lane.
A small little trade with a flag and drag by Lord. I'll go with Jarvan. We'll go with Jarvan by Jarvan 4 against the Maokai.
These guys have very annoying names to pronounce.
That is true. I think we will stick with the champions for this game, for these games. The names are a little bit too much, slip of the tongue a little bit too much. And coming into start with Sejuani coming over with a seed, but being met
Maokai
by
coming
Kane
over.
in the mid.
That would be first blood for Sejuani. That's actually quite a good roam down from Maokai, considering he had pushed in the lane. He was able to back up his jungler. Sejuani still relatively tanky, but still Kane, once he does kind of need that level 3 power spike with the Shadow Walk into the wall. So unfortunately, Monash will be taking that first blood.
Coming over into the bot lane, we see a slight poke from Ezreal trying to get off that Kleptomancy very early in this matchup. We have a Vel'Koz getting that poke in with the Arcane Comet, being met in with a charge by Sejuani. Sejuani coming in to continue, stunning Vel'Koz, where Vel'Koz pops his bubble and manages to get it away with the skin on his teeth. And I gotta say, that is a very, very tough situation. He was left under, but he managed to get away with the skin on his teeth. And looking at Sejuani as well as Azir, they are both down on health, that they both might need to return back to base.
Yeah, I was not sure what Monash was trying to do, because I believe they did see Vel'Koz just with a bit of less health, but still a decent mana pool left. So I'm not sure what Anubis and Always Running were trying to do.
That is completely correct. Like, that's just that team fight right there, or should I say that invasion on the 2v1 situation was a very, very tight match. I thought that, I thought that Vel'Koz was actually going to, forfeit over a kill to Anubis, or better yet, Always Running at this point. But it looks like Always Running just wasn't exactly able to catch Vel'Koz off just in time with that barrier to save that last portion of his health. Coming into the mid lane, we see Azir coming in with the soldier just for the slight poke. Vel'Koz responding just as kindly.
Trading. Yeah, interesting that we're actually focusing around the mid and bot lane, because I just realized that despite the lack of tanks, Melbourne University, they've opted to go into that sort of poking composition with the Vel'Koz and with the Ezreal. Obviously, Jarvan providing that natural attack speed steroid with his flag as well. So I believe in terms of wave clear, there's a lot more wave clear on Monash, but in terms of poke, I believe I would give that advantage to Melbourne University.
Coming over into the bot lane, Lulu coming in with the initial poke, Thresh coming in with the flay, Sejuani meeting with the dash to try and catch out Lulu. Lulu flashes out, followed by another flash from Sejuani, securing the kill to Always Running. He is left with very low health. Ezreal does the flash in to try and catch him off.
Coming in for Kane.
Thresh taking the kill on Ezreal, and then Jarvan 4 coming in with the teleport with the flag and drag to secure the kill and rejoin the fight to take out Always Running. Just flashes behind to get himself out of the fray. This is turning to be quite the matchup in the bot lane. It is a fiesta down there. Just look at that. That is a 4v4 situation down there.
Yeah, no presence from the mid laners. Obviously, none of the mid laners taking teleport or even roaming down. But ooh, quite the scrappy exchange in mid lane. Crazy having to blow his flash.
For those who just didn't catch on, Azir managed to surprise Vel'Koz with the soldier dash and grab. Managing to get himself a little bit of extra poke. And as we see, he just repeated it again, making fuller use of that soldier. Coming in with the flash and Emperor's Divide to hold him back in, securing the kill on Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz unfortunately popped his ultimate, but just couldn't exactly get there, get those stacks in to try and save his hide against Anubis. Anubis, proving to us how powerful he is. Yes, you are completely right, Artillery. That is absolutely phenomenal from Anubis.
Yeah, that was quite the Shurima shuffle as well, considering both of them were quite low and Anubis already dipping into that last bit of his mana pool. Amazing play from him.
Yes, and he is still trying to make, he is capitalizing on that effect. Just look at him. He still remained in the mid lane to try and continue on up until he had nothing left to offer. Returning to base, replenishing his health, his mana, collecting items to try and keep that lead. Look, for those watching, if we go down to the scoreboard, we see a 49-54 against Vel'Koz, Azir respectively. That is also a kill advantage on as the side of Azir. Azir is starting to increase that gap between, him and his enemy mid laner, which, commonly is probably what you want to try and achieve the most, especially in lane phase.
Yeah, interesting though to point out there's only a slight, nearly 1k gold lead despite the 4-1 kill lead in favor of Monash. So Be interesting where to actually look, because mostly Jarvan has a slight CS lead over the Maokai, of course. Same with the Ezreal, surprisingly, knowing that Tristana usually has a safer laning phase, being able to farm up with the passive from the explosive charge. So, despite lacking in the 3 kills, still a quite decent goal lead.
Sometimes being a bit on the passive, enables you to farm a little bit more, cleanly. You focus a little more. And speaking of coming in with a bit of a clean getaway, that just driving forward with the flag and drag, but gets met by Sejuani with her ultimate Maokai coming in with the tag,
dive,
continuing with the Cataclysm and takes the kill on Jarvan.
Oh, Maokai just surviving by the skin of his teeth. Oh, Kane being caught out in jungle.
Yeah, Zia meeting Kane in the jungle by his blue, coming in with the Emperor's Divide. Kane managing to dash away with his, his wall, his wall. Oh, I don't even know what to call it. It's like Shadow Walk. Thank you. That Shadow Walk just essentially saved that last few moments of health that he had, as well as replenish some of it too, coming into, going into that wall bound. And as we come into a small little pause again, I'm not really sure exactly what is going on with the teams at the moment. I assume it could be a small... We are going to a quick little toilet break, folks.
Oh, toilet break. All right.
Yes, and as we go to a small little toilet break, I think we should take this opportunity for all of us to have a small toilet break. Eric, I bring this over to you.
All right. Switching over. Yep. We will be coming back into the game right now, as the toilet break has been finished.
Hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go. And in this case, he had to go. By coming back into this game, we continue over in the bot lane, as you're getting that free poke onto Tristana and Thresh. And since he has Kleptomancy, popping in that Q onto them just enables him to, get that free gold advantage, as well as possibly, popping that Kleptomancy and getting a small little extra bonus on top of. And, that can range anywhere from a health potion to a mana potion, or even just some wards, or even an elixir. It's completely random. Kleptomancy will always keep us on our toes as to what we might get from them next.
Yeah, as we can see, he's got a stolen health potion in his inventory already, and a control ward, so we'll like to see. Oh, we could be looking from a dive.
Coming in from Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz coming in with the ulti to try and take out Tristana. Unfortunately,
one so
just takes one Tristana. Thresh keeping him under the turret to take enough damage and securing the kill on Vel'Koz. Ezreal coming in with that, ability flash, as well as a couple poke, but manages to dash away and save his hide, enabling him to stay within the lane just a little moment longer. And seeing as he has the CS advantage, lacking a kill and an assist, but if we go over to the gold accumulation, he is still ahead and is completely happy with himself right now.
Yeah, that was actually quite a good play from Monash, considering that Vel'Koz being known for that high damage mid lane and was able to take down at least this Tristana, but Thresh being able to use the box, being able to slow down the Vel'Koz, proved quite well and actually not netted them 2 kills in return for 1.
Yes, and I wasn't really keeping much track of the mid lane. Did he have lane priority, or did he just try and make the full-on surprise, really? But just by letting the lane push, and he just, makes him behind their own turret in the bot lane.
Oh, I'm not sure, I think, because if we do look onto the minimap, blue side actually has quite a lot of control over red side blue jungle. We can see 3 control wards. So...
Yes, having 3 control wards, 1 in the river, 1 actually being replaced for the tri-bush down in, on the side of blue. It looks like there might be, they're preparing for a gank possibly. Coming in with the initial gank actually, Sejuani popping in with the ulti, taking out Lulu. Ezreal managing to dash out of there and, save himself. Ezreal was just, Ezreal's looking for a soul survival. He's doing well in his own. Thresh comes in with the death sentence, comes in with a flay to knock him under. That stopwatch has been activated. Ezreal flashes in the opposite direction. Tristana catching him off guard. Still
Kane
being within
coming as
range.
well.
Kane coming in with the ulti to hide under the turret. Is he going to get those 2 kills? No, he gets taken out by Sejuani. Vel'Koz continuing the fight. He's going in. He's got Gluts. He's got Glory. There goes the Tristana. And the Thresh finishes him off with that slight little whiplash. Oh, that Vel'Koz is going to be feeling it tomorrow. Coming into the top lane, we see a Maokai trading off with Jarvan 4. Jarvan 4 with a flag and drag to get himself under his turret. Also knocking Maokai up and out of position to lose control. Jarvan 4 is looking
such a scrappy fight.
Yeah, Jarvan 4 is looking to be very grim at this point. Maokai is beginning to show that he is the dominant top laner. He owns this lane. You know, you try and come up against me, you will be punished for this. And he certainly punished Jarvan 4 straight off the bat. Although we see Jarvan 4 remaining in the lane. What are your thoughts on this, Artillery? I think we lost Artillery there for a moment, folks. That's all right. He'll be back momentarily. Just a slight little connection issue. We all have those connection issues. Coming over to the bot lane, we have an Ezreal and Lulu continuing the lane poke. Coming towards that priority line, pushing it past there, giving him that freedom of movement. Coming in with a flash and Q to try and pop off, you know, get that poke in, get that Kleptomancy popping. Ezreal's just, you know, Ezreal is just starting to increase the gap between the two. Unfortunately, if we look over towards the gold accumulation, Tristana has the lead now. Kane continuing his farm over in sort of the red jungle, claiming it. What will he do next? We don't know. Vel'Koz over towards the red side blue. Is he going to try and take the, you know, take the steal? Maokai over into the top lane against Jarvan 4. Look at them having a trade-off. Vel'Koz over towards the mid jungle. Coming in with the ulti and, you know, zoning himself down on Anubis. Anubis managed to get himself out of there. Lulu coming in for the defense with Kane coming in to help out. Maokai teleporting in with the ulti to not, you know, control them around. Thresh coming in with the Flays death sentence. Vel'Koz getting away with the barrier. Unfortunately, just managing to stay within the fight. Goes towards the top river. Does not get caught out. Gets the death sentence from Thresh and is being secured the kill towards the side of Monash. Monash have quite the team fight going to us right now. Artillery, are you back with us?
Yes, I am back. I apologize. Give me a moment to reconnect and join in.
That is completely fine. I will bring you back in momentarily as we go towards mid lane. The one thing that is now being taken out of this game is the tier 2 mid turret. I believe that is a double turret push coming in for the third turret. Ezreal taking the side push down bottom to claim their first turret. Thresh coming in with the actual death sentence to try and hold him out, letting that hook hold on for as long as possible. You know, keep that crowd control happening, securing the kill towards the full-on team mentioned. It is a complete poke fest right here. We have seen Monash take down, actually push all the way to the inhibitor and take it down, unlocking the super minions. Now we see Monash taking a backward step, pushing themselves backward, getting themselves in a comfortable position, resetting all lanes. I feel as though that they should be taking control of that bot lane, resetting it back to their midpoint, and possibly putting themselves in a better position. They have the 2 lane open, you know, 2 lanes have opened. The top half of the map is completely open. Bottom lane is in a little bit of a pickle. If they decide to split push, it could put them in the same position as, you know, as the University of Melbourne. But we can also see there is quite a bit of warding happening. Artillery, what are your thoughts on these warding?
Oh, interesting that now red side, they have taken back their blue side jungle, and considering there is still that one little dragon trainer ward in Melbourne University's base, just sitting there very happily. Unfortunately, no teleports on Monash University's side to use to teleport to that, obviously with the inhibitor already broken open. So it'll be interesting in how they will be able to try and push into Melbourne University's jungle. Once I can see already, they've already established quite the little litter of wards over that blue side jungle for Melbourne University. Just slowly.
If I was Melbourne University at this point, I too would want to start increasing that ward coverage, seeing as, you know, Momaling has got the entire, you know, West Jungle completely under his eyes. He could see everything that is happening there. And as we come over to the actual Rift Herald, that is now being taken down on the side of Monash University, securing it. being
Very
able to put them in a
promptly
more
taken
comfortable
down.
position to be able to push using that Rift Herald to try to help push a lane. And when a Rift Herald is completely opened and that thing takes on a turret with a full-on head bash at full health, that turret goes down by at least 70%, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it is still a very, very large amount of health bar that is going to be chunked by that Rift Herald's headbutt. That is quite the sturdy head that Herald has on top of him right there.
Indeed, and we do see a bit of a fight in the jungle.
It was more of a tickle. Lulu's having a little fun with the Sejuani, having a slight little poke with the help of Kane and Ezreal to try and, push always running backwards a little bit. But as we see with the Shadow Walk, Kane tries to make the attempt, but then unfortunately has to run away, seeing as we see both Tristana and Thresh coming into support, always running, still has that Rift Herald up his arsenal. What is he going to do with it? We don't know. We see a full 5-man top lane, attempt happening right here. What are they going to do? We see pardon me, folks, we see a double base from both Jarvan 4 and Kane to try and make the escape. Ezreal might be coming up top.
Maokai still pushing down in that bot lane.
That 4-1 split push is always good, isn't it? That 4-1 split push is working very well for Monash.
Yeah, considering like they do have that combination with the Sejuani still being able to be that frontline tank with the 2 hyper carries. Ooh, true shot barrage coming out. Rift Herald
the true shot barrage, giving that slight little poke and try and diminish that Rift Herald down, eliminating it from the game, and get rid of that one little moment of stress in their head that they'll constantly have on their mind until they deal with it. Otherwise, it just becomes an even greater problem. But with that gone, they managed to take the tier 2 turret. Azir taking on that that turret to give them an extra positioning. Sejuani coming in with the ultimate, managing to lock one down, but does not secure the kill. A very good response, a very good, evasive action from the side of University of Melbourne. Coming down to the bottom lane, we see Maokai versus Jarvan 4. It is a sticky situation. We see Aftershock happening. Back over in the top lane, we see Azir being targeted by Crazy's ulti. Manages to get the stopwatch happening, but unfortunately it's taken out by the lockdown.
Shut down.
A continuous trade happening between the two. Ezreal trying to get his pokes out, pop that Kleptomancy, continue the poke, force them backwards. They did get forced backwards, but Monash University are capitalizing on this. They are taking down the South Jungle. There goes that South Red buff towards, on the side of Monash. Oh, we have seen another change of trajectory. We see a 3-man dragon happening, especially over at an ocean dragon. Whether they want to secure it for themselves or... Actually, no, they are securing it for themselves, but I think they're trying to, diminish University of Melbourne's ability to be able to try and make a comeback. They are proving to be very effective, especially in this, in this team moment right here. What are your thoughts on what are your thoughts in the current situation, Artillery?
Well, obviously we can see that Monash University going for the excellent 4-1 composition with Maokai split pushing while the rest of the team members try and gather up. And I think what Monash were trying to do in the top side was an excellent play, being able to try and force a tower with the super minions rushing down in the mid lane. So it would just be interesting into which inhibitor they would try to pick up next. So, and if they are able to try and get that again.
My apologies of continuous attempt to overtalk you, Artillery. I wanted to say that I hope they try and I hope for the sake of Monash they retake that mid lane turret, the mid lane inhibitor, to try and create some freedom of movement, especially since the bottom lane is almost at the tier 2 turret. They are keeping that lane pushed. They are almost near that priority line.
I think Maokai, he's just having a fun old time down in bot lane, just being able to do a bit of a tussle with Jarvan here and there.
They seem to be having quite the picnic down here, just occasionally trading, getting some farm, for one another. Maokai has the advantage, being a very thick tree right now. He is claiming more wood for himself. He's getting thicker by the minute. Coming over towards the West River, we see an Azir coming in with the initial jump over with the Emperor's Divide to lock down Lulu and secure the kill for Tristana, putting Tristana even further ahead. And with that kill, Monash University are capitalizing on the ability that they can see everyone, and they are taking down the Baron without any form of contesting. We see a true shot barrage happening from Ezreal, which only helped them. Thresh coming in with the initial exhaust, taking down the Vel'Koz, knocking him out of the game. We see another one taken down. Jarvan 4 goes down to Azir for a double kill.
Ooh.
Tristana now making plays with the explosive charge coming over, getting that buster shot on the way out. That was quite the feat that we have just witnessed here, folks. That was quite the play on the side of Monash. Monash are proving to be the very formidable foes here. They have got complete control of this game. They are now taking the tier 1, Nexus turrets coming down to take the inhibitor. Azir is pushing the mid lane, keeping that push going, taking it down to take 2 inhibitors at this point, folks.
I think this might be game within the next few minutes unless Melbourne University can pull something out of nowhere. I don't think they'll be able to hold up against this, considering... Oh,
no, but with Crazy's ability to get those 3-stack passive onto Sejuani, taking a chunk of her health, has forced Monash to actually retreat a little bit backwards. Now they are focusing their attention towards the bot lane to try and, take down that bottom turret, coming in with a death sentence to catch out Jarvan 4. Jarvan 4 manages to flag drag in the opposite direction. And managing to take out... Vel'Koz managing to ulting down and taking down Maokai, putting them down with even less health. Ras comes in with the initial ulti, taking down Sejuani, giving the kill to Ezreal. Cataclysm over by Jarvan 4 to lock down Tristana. Comes up with the knockup, stopping Tristana in her tracks. Ezreal and Thresh managing to get away with the skin on the teeth with the jump over by the Dragon Pit. That was quite the return, and as you predicted before, Artillery, they did make that comeback. They did surprise Monash University. Are we going to see more surprises happening? I hope we do.
Well, I hope we do as well, but I think it was just a plain mistake of Monash just overstaying. That simple mistake that often a lot of players do make, that we just overstay, we overestimate. We think we are able to take them with our ultimates, We've got the advantage, we've got 2 inhibitors open, but don't forget, you're playing on their home turf, you're playing inside their base. So
yes, and on top of, if we're thinking about the entire gameplay at this stage, I wouldn't put it past Monash University to be very, aggressive, to be very, very much on the front line and be over pushy and overstay. They have had guts. They've had the guts. They've had the glory. They've had the rewards. They are very ambitious and optimistic about their gameplay. They think they can take down that Nexus within that single fight. They are doing well, but then Crazy surprises them with the complete combo to push back, always running. As Sejuani, she had to actually retreat, losing more than half of her health in that trade-off between the two. University of Melbourne are now starting to come online. They now have the poking ability to, contest Monash University when it comes to, having a dance-off between both sides.
Yeah, interesting.
Ras takes a shadow walk coming over towards the bottom. Always running, takes the dash to try and catch him over. Unfortunately, Kane manages to get away. Azir is now continuing the push in the bottom lane with that Baron buff in play. They are taking the turret. They are attacking the turrets.
Baron buff is, I believe, nearly expiring as we speak now.
Yes, and yes, it is completely expired, as you mentioned. That was up for that last couple of seconds. They managed to take that tier 3 turret, deleting the entire, outside turrets for the side of Melbourne University. I'm about to lose my breath, folks. I feel like I'm going a million miles an hour. I can feel my heart beating through my neck.
All good, man. All good. But considering we've seen most of these fights take within the jungle where there are a lot of close corners, but if we look at both teams, they favor fights in close corners, With the Jarvan Cataclysm, the Vel'Koz Lifeform Disintegration rate, Ezreal 2-shot barrage. And then if we look on the side of Monash, we've got the Emperor's Divide, we've got Nature's Grasp from Maokai. Oh, we are seeing...
Coming in with a single trade, Sejuani comes over the ulti, locks down Vel'Koz flashes out, and the barrier double summoners comes in with that disintegration, taking down 2 people. Ezreal stealing Sejuani, while Vel'Koz takes down Thresh. Emperor's Divide coming to knock back Jarvan 4. We see another backseat situation happening here. We've got a back of the stage Kane trying to take on Tristana and Maokai. Maokai meeting him for the trade-off. Gets knocked up, but Maokai is just too thick. He has too much health to deal to be able to, he's laughing it off essentially. And Tristana getting that free poke out on Kane. And as we see, Jarvan 4 is making the desperate attempt to defend that Nexus, but gets taken out by the trio themselves. And as we can see from that ace right there, they have just taken game 1. Game 1 goes to
Going
Monash
to
University.
Monash
Well done to
University.
Monash. Artillery, what are your thoughts from that entire situation right there that we are still trying to, process through our system?
Yeah, I mean, that was quite the long team fight considering Vel'Koz did manage to get that very pristine life form disintegration rate off on most of the team, but considering they had only taken down Sejuani and Thresh, two of the main non-damage sources, they had still left Maokai, that still left Azir, still Tristana up. I believe that was just a misplay on Melbourne University, just not being able to target Anubis and Kier on the Azir and Tristana respectively, just allowing them to fire in from the backline recklessly.
Yeah, that simple catch out put the University of Melbourne behind, actually pretty much like securing the game for Monash. Just that simple catch out. The entire of Monash University responded to that catch out. They saw it come. They saw that split, that split window of opportunity, and they all jumped for it. And they were rewarded for it. They took game 1 against Melbourne. Now all we need to do is see number 2 happen and see how the teams play out in rounds 2 as we go to a quick short commercial break. I'm sorry, just a quick little break. My apologies, folks. When you can take over. There have been some points where you sort of start over talking a little bit, and yeah, it's like 2 people talking at once. Oh shit! Coming back into game 2, we see a Jana ban again. First off, on the side of Monash University, both sides have now switched over. University of Melbourne over to the right-hand side, Monash University over to the left. Coming over to the initial bans, we see a Zed and Jana, typical bans start off. At the start of last champion lobby, we saw those 2 bans straight off the bat. Coming over with a Vayne ban. Artillery, what is your assumption with this Vayne ban happening right now?
Well, it is actually quite interesting because so far, with the Zed and Jana obviously reflecting first game's ban, but with the Vayne, I'm not exactly sure because Vayne, considering that she does have that excellent late game potential, as with the Malzahar just being banned out, I'm not exactly sure where I believe just going to check. Yeah, Monash on the left side, they are trying to go with. So quite interesting. Obviously, we can see Melbourne University betting out that very powerful Sejuani they went up against last game. So we'll just have to see. Once again, Gangplank banned.
Yeah, but as we can all have a little chuckle about that Sejuani being a very powerful contender on the side of Monash University. Melbourne University do not want to have that trouble this time around. They want to have a bit more of a comfortable gameplay. Last time they were in quite the pickle. And coming in with the first pick, we see a Maokai for Sigma Squared again. This is going to be a very interesting game too. I'm curious to see how Lord is going to match up against this one here. Jarvan 4 was a very good contender, coming in with a flag and drag for the CC and the Cataclysm for the team plays, but ultimately was not able to help carry his team to the victory. And as we go over to Lord, we see the first pick coming out with a Poppy.
Ooh,
Poppy is an interesting pick, especially into a Maokai.
Like obviously she does provide that natural tankiness against the Maokai. Not too much engage, but more of a guardian with the steadfast presence and the keeper's verdict. But it will be quite interesting since Poppy hasn't seen much benefit with the new runes. Aftershock obviously being only I believe it does proc on her heroic charge displacement, but I'm not sure, not too much beyond that. Warwick being able to pick out for the jungle of Melbourne University. Thresh once again being picked. Zaya as well.
And we see a Zaya. Folks, this game has just got more interesting for me right now. Zaya, absolutely, that is an absolutely good pick. I'm curious to see how Thresh and Zaya are going to work out in the bot lane. I don't see the combo very often, but with Thresh's death sentence, as well as the box and Zaya's ability to just fan out her feathers everywhere, withdraw them in to lock down, to lock down that snare on an enemy, this is going to be an interesting matchup. They have a lot of CC happening. They have a lot of snares. You've got Maokai's, Nature's Grasp happening. We've got Thresh with his Flay and his Death Sentence and Box. And Zaya's just her entire kit evolves around her feathers, being able to withdraw them in. She could probably get a 5-man snare if she puts herself in a good position. Coming over into the second round of bans, we see Azir banned on the side of Melbourne University. Melbourne University do not want to face off that Azir in round 2. That Empress Divide really divided both teams in terms of, team capability and whatnot.
Yeah, considering that also with the Thresh and Maokai, I can see that sort of protecting around that Zaya composition already. As you can see already, both of the first 2 picks from Monash being very CC heavy up against possibly what could potentially be a CC heavy composition in itself from Melbourne University. Obviously Rourke only being able to have the crowd control with the infinite duress on his ultimate. But once again, I do believe that Monash University do have those tools, being able to keep those divers such as even the Poppy, like I said before, and the Rourke being able to possibly jump on those very squishy, very vulnerable carries of Monash.
Yes, and looking over towards the remaining bans that we have yet to cover, Victor is once again banned on the side of Monash. Last champion phase or champion select phase, they banned Victor before. So I'm curious as to why they fear Victor very often. Like, what is it about Victor's kit that just they are scared about? We won't find out, as he is banned out, so we don't have to worry about him. We have another LeBlanc ban happening on the side of Melbourne University, and we can see a Vel'Koz ban on the side of Monash. Vel'Koz was quite the foe last time round. He managing to get those 3-stack procs as well as the range on his Disintegrator, just being able to lock down at least 2 or 3 on the side of Monash University and just put them in that pickle, put them in that point where they have to retreat. Otherwise, it would be a complete ace, which would put them back a little bit. We're coming over to the final pick phase. We see a Zac for jungle over for always running, picking those very tanky, very CC based champions. We see Lessie picking the Tristana, locking down the Yordle combo bot lane with the Lulu and Triss. I hope to see 2 Dragon Trainers down there right now. I want to see a dragon play down there. And the final pick on the side of Monash, we see Orianna picked for Anubis. Orianna is a very powerful pick, but looking over to the side of Melbourne, we see a Morgana pick. Now, I'm a little bit confused. What do you think that's going to be, a Morgana support or a Lulu support artillery?
I think it would be more so the Lulu support. As we can see, yeah, the swap from shoot giving Morgana to Crazy. And like I said before, if we look upon Monash's side, it is that protect the carry support. We've still got that Orianna, very squishy but very powerful team fight champion. But then we've got the Zac, so we've got already 3 forms of ball initiation. We've got Zac, we've got Maokai, and we've got Thresh. So you know that if Monash is able to pull off an excellent team fight, I'm pretty sure which way that team fight will lean towards. I think it's Monash.
You think it's Monash? You think
Yeah,
Monash is going to take game 2?
Yeah, well, I mean, looking towards that team fighting composition, yes, they would perfectly exceed in that team fight, because I just don't really think, I could be wrong. Obviously, this is just my opinion, but I could be wrong. But the Poppy Warwick, obviously being able to use that sort of guardian aspect of the Poppy, steadfast presence, keeper's verdict, but then the Warwick being able to engage with that infinite duress, I'm not exactly sure. They could be possibly going for a pick composition with Melbourne University, with the dark binding, with the infinite duress, being able to wall slam with the Poppy, Tristana free firing away. But up against the front line of a Zac and Maokai along with a Thresh, I'm not exactly sure if you can get a pick on that backline.
We can never forget the Orianna as well. When she lands her ball onto either Zac or whoever their front line initiator is going to be, that's going to be double trouble. That is potentially going to be 2 ultis right off the bat. But see, as we can see, there is no other form of, wave-based ulti. To name a few, Misfortune, Vel'Koz, a couple that have like a spray and pray type of thing. Yeah, a spray-based ultimate. Orianna's ultimate looks like it'll be very good to get the initial, the initial grouping for Zac to just, get that less bounce going for a 5-man combo. And as we have that, 3-minute delay, we will go to a quick few-minute break as we get ourselves sorted, synced, and set up for game number 2 of Monash University versus Melbourne University. We will be right back, everybody.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever
Alright, we have the teams loading in. We see 4 stopwatches happening. That's interesting.
4 stopwatches. Wow, that's a lot of inspiration right on there.
Yeah. I've already got the perfect quote. 18, 19, 20. Alright, I'm paused at 20. Hello everyone, welcome back as we come back from the short little break to get game number 2 underway between Melbourne and Monash universities. Starting off here, we see ourselves with a 5-man bottom invade from Monash. It looks like they are trying, they want to make the early game play. They want to put, they want to put Warwick behind. They want to make sure that, they get the early game start up and just start increasing the gap between, themselves and Adelaide and Melbourne University. My apologies. My mind is a little bit scattered at the moment.
No, all good, all good. And actually interesting, they were able to clear out that ward. So whoever cleared out the ward, they had that tiny bit of an experience boost. So, so we might be able to see some cheeky level 2 cheeses once, I believe it would be Monash now on the left side being able to hit that level 2 power spike in the bot lane, possibly coming out with first blood. Hopefully we will be able to see that.
Yes, and speaking of sites, we see a nice little, earthquake happening over there. The false algae bro has actually managed to collect himself the very rare once opportunity skin. This is going to be a very flashy matchup, but it's also very, as you said before throughout the break, this is going to be a very inspirational matchup. As we see on the scoreboard, we have 4 stopwatches happening here. 4 stopwatches from both sides, both mid lane and ADCs have gone with that stopwatch. Will we see? We'll possibly see a Zona's Hourglass happening for both mid laners, and also might be an early Guardian's Angel for both sides. We will find out as the game progresses. As we head into the early lane phase, we see even trades between Orianna and Morgana getting off their keystones. We see bot lane happening with the initial poke, as well as the continuous trade-off between Xayah and her farm, and Tristana and her ability to poke. Lulu being very pokey, trying to push them backwards, get that front line going, get that priority line passed, keep the minions pushed ahead a little bit, hit that level 2/level 3 sooner to gain control of that early phase.
Yeah, interesting though. We can see that even though Melbourne University have their bot lane pushed out, it does seem that Monash University, they have the mid lane advantage. With that slight substantial minion lead, obviously now Crazy and Anubis are obviously hitting those level 3 power spikes.
Coming in with a power spike, we see Poppy knocking Maokai into the wall. Maokai has lost a lot of health. Or it comes in with the sense of blood to close the gap, and that is the first blood going over to Melbourne University with Sigma going down, but unfortunately managed to take Warwick down with him. Coming over to the bot lane, we see a death sentence followed by a flay towards Lulu. Lulu has lost a chunk of health, forced to retreat. Xayah managing to also get away with just as much health. They have both been put on the defensive. But Melbourne University have the advantage here because Tristana is still at a lot of health. We see Thresh at full health, but if they come down to a situation where one dies, Melbourne University will have the advantage as their ADC will still be alive. They has now returned to base. This is going to be an interesting start-off, Artillery.
Yeah, considering 3 summoner spells were both blown on both sides of the bot lane. Ooh, bit of trading. Black Shield.
Yes, and we see the snare flown from Crazy locking down Orianna for that early pick, being able to get some extra damage out. Anubis is now without almost any mana and very low on health. That might be an early base. We see the scent of blood coming on top of her here. Warwick can smell that blood coming from a mile away, and he might be making for that. He might be making for that prey soon. As we can see, Zach is flexing his muscles as he protects Orianna as he tries to base back, cancels his base as Morgana continues with that tortured, I believe it is Tormented Soil. That's it, Tormented Soil. Maokai coming in with the grab. Yeah. We see a slight little taunt happening there from Zach. Flexing his muscles in his chest. What a great little display he has shown for us today. I can see we're gonna have some tabs on this Zach right now. But also keeping tabs on something, looking towards the minimap, we see Warwick going for the early dragon. That might be a 5-minute dragon happening right there. But he might
He
he's
did.
also in a bad position
Ooh.
because Tristana and Lulu are now forced back towards their turret. Monash University have priority over the bottom lane, so if they desired, they could just go over and, deny Warwick the kill as well,
Mhm.
take over and take the first Drake, which is the Infernal. And Infernal will put Monash ahead with that stat boost.
Yeah, it's interesting fact to actually note. Warwick actually went for a very early back, picking up the 2 longswords and the rejuvenation bead, which can only be thought of building into a Tiamat. So, he's
It can
backing
either be a
once again.
Tiamat or it could also be a what is that damage? What is that damage jungle item called? Well, I had to
Warriors.
put that on hold as we see a Poppy trade off with Sigma. Sigma is losing a lot of health. Poppy is actually proving to be quite the matchup for Sigma at the moment. I think Lord's going to try and give Sigma a run for his money right here. He's going to try and take over the lane. Last game, Sigma had the lane, but it looks like Poppy is now showing him who is the true Star Guardian of the top lane.
Ooh. And I mean, obviously, now the different matchup of the more pure tank versus the pure tank of Poppy versus Maokai, it'll be an interesting fight to try and see which one will scale faster, considering Poppy usually does have that little
Coming
shield.
into the bot lane, sorry to take you over there, man, but
All good.
to bot lane, we see a Zach coming in with the jump, comes over with the knock, locking down Tristana and taking the kill, giving the 3-man mention over to the side of Monash University. Now that'll give them a slight gold catch-up. Isaiah is a little bit behind. Coming over towards mid lane, we see Oriana being snared over by Morgana. Now being continued over by Warwick. Warwick continues to take him under the turret, secures the kill, but dies in the process. That is the second time Warwick has died underneath Monash University's turret while taking a kill. Zach comes over to continue the fight against Crazy. Always
Stopwatch
running,
comes
trying to keep
out.
himself on the run to keep things in play, but unfortunately has to get away as he sees the teleport coming in from Lord. Lord coming in to defend Morgana, being able to secure her ability to control the lane a little bit more and increasing the gold gap between the two. Morgana has the slight gold lead, but with that farm underway, with that farm, slowly accumulating, getting further away from Oriana, she will actually start making some plays. She's going to start making progress. Coming over towards the bot lane. No, back to the top lane. The camera is going crazy right here. We see Sigma being forced backwards as Poppy continues to poke, keeps herself in charge, showing the lane, showing more my brain, my throat, everything is going absolutely haywire. As much as this fight is happening topside, Sigma is coming in for the attempt, gets knocked up by Poppy. Poppy continues to fight, comes over with Nature's Grasp, but unfortunately does not do anything. Poppy may have been tickled by it, but it did not do enough damage. Poppy's knock-up completely CC'd Maokai and secured the kill for Poppy, putting her even further ahead now. Now we see another attempt over at the Infernal Drake by Algi. Algi might try and take it. No, he gets met by Anubis towards the end. He is low on health, but he might be trying to make something. Morna comes in for the take. Zach jumps in for the steal and the smite. Bounces around, but unfortunately doesn't get over the wall, flashes and fails the attempt. He is stuck in the pit with no way out. We see a Tristana coming in to take down Zio. Zio manages to just get away. Even though that explosive charge was on, it did not accumulate enough stacks to be able to do a lot of damage. Oh, my heart is racing faster than Tristana's attack speed when rapid fire is happening. I think we have lost Artillery for a moment there. No, he is back with us. Welcome back.
I apologize. Just give me a moment to sync back up.
I am 8 minutes 50 and going. Coming over towards the top lane, we see a lane control happening by Maokai. He has a lot of minions up by his side. We see Morgana snaring Oriana under the turret. Warwick is taking his blue, uncontested. Zach is also repeating the same. It is a mirror matchup between the jungles right now. Bottom lane, as we can see, have got complete lane priority, pushing past that priority line. We have Poppy and Sigma now trading off against one another. It is an even trade. Coming back to the bot lane. Zaya gets in with a snare, tries to get away. The box has been unlocked. Unfortunately, Zaya goes down to Warwick. Warwick has now tasted another victim. He continues the push. Going back over to the top lane, we see Zach coming in against Lord. Lord is now up in a 2v1 situation. Locks down Zach under the turret, flashes out in attempts of getting away. He is low, but is he going to make it out alive? Is he going to be the last Guardian standing? No, he is not, as he gets
No.
knocked back by Maokai and secures the kill.
Yep.
That was quite the 3-lane battle right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, from bot lane up to top lane, quite. Oh, I thought Zach would miss that little elastic thing shot right there onto the scuttle, but does manage to hit him. Just to check time for resync.
Coming back over towards the bot lane, false Algae making the aggression, taking some of the camp, taking the bottom camp, possibly put Zach a little bit behind. Zach has absolutely no desire to do anything as he is topside taking down that Grump. Now he's making his way back to base to, cash in some gold, get some items, and put himself, in a bit more comfortable position when he runs around on the map, as he is always running about. All around and now making the attempt to go back to base. Well, Warwick has followed the same example, gone back to base. Everybody's cashing in. Everybody's getting items. Everyone's coming back stronger than before. We see a death sentence happening from Thrash over to Lulu. But unfortunately, it was for naught as Zaya was a little bit out of position.
Ooh, just interesting how Thresh didn't connect that death sentence. He did manage to get the first one, but don't forget you need to press Q twice in order to get that death sentence off.
Zap comes in with the jump, is attempting to try and get that slingshot going. Locks down, almost manages to lock her down and pull her back into the fray. He might have been possibly going for that let's bounce, as it is active at the moment. It is ready to pop off. But unfortunately, Thresh and Zach could not try and land anything in. Poppy is over in the top lane, taking on Maokai freely. He is just getting some free pokes right now. He is showing him how much of the lord of the top lane he is proving to be right now. Game number 2 is looking very interesting, folks. Coming back in, death sentence happening on Lulu, gets locked down. The let's bounce has happened, but bounces nobody back into the fray. Warwick comes in from behind, takes on Thresh, comes in with the all out. Manages to get a couple bites in, does not lock down his, I believe it is called the Infinite Duress. He manages to, he jumped himself into the fray, does not connect with anyone, but that still closes the gap between him and the enemy bot lane, which has managed to secure a double kill for University of Melbourne. I believe we had a small trade between Anubis and Crazy, but unfortunately the map could not show us this. We see a teleport happening in from Poppy. Poppy coming back in against the fray, against Sigma to try and, keep the gold cap minimal between the two, keep that level cap between another. Both of them are very even on the scoreboard, 75 to 75. Maokai has 2 kills, surprisingly. Poppy has 1 kill and 1 assist.
As well.
Yes, that's true. And if we also look at the item accumulation, they have very close proximity of each other. However, we see Poppy going more with the healthy stats rather than the tanky stats right there. Just going with full on health, but only the brutes as the proper defensive stats at this point. Going with a continuous trade against Sigma, he is taking out more health on Sigma than Sigma is trying to take out on Lord. Lord is just absolutely dominating this top lane right now.
Yeah, considering Poppy also does have that percentage damage on her Q, and with Maokai being quite the close fighter, does kind of benefit Poppy in that sort of way. And Poppy obviously going for that grasp opposed to that aftershock will give her that slight laning advantage in the beginning.
Absolutely, and as we can see here, Poppy has now pushed the minions past that priority line just before the range of the turret, giving her complete freedom of movement. She has the river bush warded. She has her tri-bush warded with a control ward. A control ward is also just as effective as a vision ward, as it is being able to, keep complete vision control of that bush right there, making sure Zach does not surprise her on any corner. And now we come in for another, another charge against the wall, knocking him down, putting him into a crowd control situation, but he managed to get out just in time as he was very close to his own turret. Now he makes himself back to base. With that teleport down, he is going to be behind a little bit. No, he cancels it the last second as Poppy continues to push, getting past that priority line, pushing the minions under the turret, being able to give him freedom of movement. What will he do with this movement? We don't know. So far, he seems to just be sitting there and having fun, having a dance-off. Right now, it seems to be a tango of the two.
I think he'll be trying to push into the Maokai, knowing that the Maokai can't infinitely sustain himself, even with the pickup of the Doran thing. Ooh,
Speaking of pickup, we see a Warwick coming with the Infinite Duress, locking down Oriana. Oriana just managed to get away. Let's Bounce knocks him further back behind the turret, but unfortunately Warwick took too many turret hits and unfortunately gave a kill over to Oriana and Zach with the assist. Coming over towards the bot lane, we seem to have another priority situation happening here. On the side of Melbourne University, Lessie is pushing that lane, keeping Xayah under the turret, and with Tristana's, as Tristana gets more levels, she is going to get more pokey. She's going to have range over Xayah. And over towards the mid lane, that was a very easy kill for Morgana against Oriana. Oriana is starting to fall behind a little bit, not by much, but is slowly closing the gap between the two.
Interesting that Anubis just decided to stay in the mid lane. Very low, knowing Morgana had Ignite and all of her abilities up with sufficient mana.
He had a lot of guts, but unfortunately this time around he did not have that glory. He could not claim the reward for being gutsy. Coming over towards the bot lane, we see both lanes evenly resetting the lane. We see Tristana resetting the lane to claim all minions again. Now trying to push towards that priority line. Xayah preventing that priority line from being trespassed. And if we look over to the minimap, we see 4 control wards happening right now on the side of Melbourne University. They are making full effectiveness of their vision and the limitations ever since you can't buy vision wards anymore. They are making the most of the situation to gain control of the map. Much like Momoling did last game, they are trying to take over this game.
Yeah, interesting to actually say, because we still have those 3 red control wards, one placed in that little bush between Dragon and Red Buff, one placed in the Dragon Pit, and one even placed within the bot side. Ooh.
Oh, Oriana coming in with that Featherstorm ulti, but unfortunately Morgana's Black Shield managed to negate any form of damage and CC. And False Aggie coming in with the Sakura to get the kill. That is going to put. That is Morgana is now catching up with the kills. If anything, she's almost about to pass Oriana with that gold accumulation. Both farmers very close. The score is very similar, but Morgana is slowly catching up.
Yeah, as you can see, Melbourne University does have that slight 3k gold lead now, possibly even going for the dragon. No, all right.
We don't know. It looks like right now they're just trying to make sure that they have complete control over it. There is a control ward in that dragon pit, and they are testing the waters to see what they can do. If they attack it, will Warwick be will he be engaged? Will he not? So far, Zach has now come to meet Warwick over at the dragon pit. But as we can see, the camera is now focused over a top lane as we see a tango happening between Lord and Sigma. Lord is on very low health for once. Sigma has now got control of that duel and is now taken over the top lane. He is now letting his minions push towards that, push past that priority line. And as we come towards the Dragon Pit, we see a complete duel off as Warwick now claims the Mountain Dragon on the side of Melbourne University. Nature's Grass happening towards Maokai. Maokai does not seem to take notice of anything that Poppy is trying to do. Poppy just managed to get away with the skin on his teeth as Maokai now manages to make ground, take himself down to that turret, and potentially try and get that first turret bonus. Over towards the top of the map, or top of the scoreboard, we see no turrets have been taken yet, and the gold accumulation is very close between the two.
Interesting that. Slight.
That was a slight little tickle I think we just witnessed down there in the bot lane. They tried to take that turret, but within the back line. That explosive charge on the turret will do a lot of bonus damage, but unfortunately they couldn't get that charge, to a high enough stack. Lulu being caught by that death sentence, unfortunately does nothing about it. Just a slight little control, and as we can see here in the south jungle, we see Zach being caught out, has been ignited. Let's Bounce has happened, and that is a Featherstorm combination right there, where it gets taken out by Zach, and now is a complete 1v1 trade-off. Zach still has his passive active, which means he got away with the skin on his teeth. Oriana making the trade. Morgana managed to just get away with the skin on her teeth. Maokai managed to go against a trade with Poppy, but just managed to get away. But if we could see, both teams have now claimed their first turrets. The top tier 1 and the bottom tier 1 have been taken. The top tier 1 has been taken out in favor of Monash University, whereas bot on the side of Melbourne. This is proving to be a very good mirror matchup. Whatever happens
Yeah.
bot lane happens top lane, isn't that right, Artillery?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very scrappy fight overall. Not much information to be thrown across at all. As we can see now, Lord slowly whacking away at the top lane tower. Hopefully, should be able to take it down using the occasional hammer stomp just to take out those minions.
Well, you know what she says. She's not the hero. She is just a girl with a hammer, and she is proving how formidable her hammer actually is becoming.
Indeed.
That is now 2 turrets down on the side of Melbourne University, and the gold accumulation between both teams is still relatively close, with a 2,000 lead on the side of Melbourne University. Now, if we split that in 5, that is about a 600 or 500 gold accumulation between each individual champion, which is about a single item on its own, whether it is a boots, a dagger, a longsword. You think of the lowest, the gold accumulation item, that is pretty much what they can get.
Yeah, I am not exactly sure if Monash are just trying to sort it out. Oh, down in bot lane. Flash comes out.
That dash bite managed to actually take him over the wall with her when Zaya flashed, and that managed to screw the kill with that slight little, I think it was a glitchy moment, but Poppy comes in to help Warwick continue the trade. Maokai coming in as well. Always running away, and we see Thresh knocked into the wall. Nothing is happening as he flashes over the wall and just manages to get away. We can see press the attack has been active. Warwick smells the blood. He is coming for his prey. He is hungry for blood, and he will not stop until he has taken it. Lulu has come to rejoin the fight as we see a 4-man situation happening bot lane almost. Warwick is now running, forcing him to always run in the opposite direction. Warwick has got control of this map right now. Bot lane on its own, he is trying to make control of the south jungle. There is wars happening right there. Melbourne University he comes in with the Zach comes in with a jump, manages to get 2, knocks 2 into each other. The ulti has been popped. Warwick is now huge. He has been bounced underneath their turret and gets taken out. A very good response on the side of Monash. They are now making plays. They are making those combos happen. We want combos. We want action. We want blood. We are seeing all them happening right here, right now in that bot lane.
Indeed we are. And I think, Thresh
comes in with the attack. Oriana comes in with a Feather Storm. Probably flashes over the wall. Unfortunately gets met by Maokai just on the other side. Zac comes behind but does not finish it. Tristana making free play on Kaya and manages to secure another kill. Unfortunately, with those kills accumulating, Melbourne University have actually managed to take the entire first line of turrets. They have now only got 3 tier 2 turrets left on their side. That is opening up the map a little bit more for Melbourne University right there. And if we look towards the mini-map over towards the south jungle, which is the bottom jungle where the red buff is, folks. It is called the south jungle. There is a lot of wards over there, but they are also trying to minimize their vision over there and keep the map steadily even at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, this is obviously Warwick being able to gain that early game advantage just because of what a jungler Zac is. But as we can see now, the team fight nature of Monash University just comes together right now, being able to successfully defend that tower push down in bot lane.
Warwick is coming in for a slight little tickle there as we see a man meetup over in the west jungle on the side of Monash. Melbourne University are kind of all over the place at the moment. They have vision. They are trying to reset all lanes. They are keeping everything within close par with one another. Melbourne University are trying to keep that push at large so they have that map control. But they are now being proven to be even more difficult as Mumu Ling and the rest of his team are now starting to come online. They are starting to come together and they want to make plays. They want revenge. They want to take control of this map. They want to show them who the alpha dog is of this matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, if Monash do manage to get that one team fight, they would be able to take quite a few objectives back in their favor. But once again, with Melbourne University just being so spread out.
Yes, Electric Slingshot has happened. Now coming in with stretching strikes to try and lock them in with one another. That was quite the jump in from Zac. Another dragon has been surprisingly taken by Warwick. Melbourne University now have 2 dragons on their side. Let's bounce has happened. Warwick has been jumped into the fray. A flash over the wall by Always Running. He is running away from Warwick as Warwick instantly dressed, jumps into the fray, comes in, takes down. That is a 1-for-1 trade. That is coming in for a complete team fight. I have lost my marbles right here. My mind can't keep up with this. I'm seeing a complete team fight happening. That is a 3-for-2 trade-off, right? That is a 3-for-1 trade-off. And now they come to lock down Tristana. Oriana is taken out in the process, but that is a 4-for-2 trade-off happen right there. Monash University have managed to make that comeback. Melbourne University have unfortunately taken that 4-man hit. They have lost 4 men within that team fight, and that is actually closing the gap between Monash and Melbourne University. The score cap at the moment is 41,700 to 44,100. Monash to Melbourne. The gap is closing. The turrets are starting to go down. Monash University are coming along, and they are coming together. They are making plays. They are making objectives. They are making the plays that we really need to see here, folks. They are showing us why they want game number 2. They've shown us why number 1 was their game. Now they want to show us what game number 2 is all about for them.
Yeah, and this is what I was just talking about. Like, as you could see, unfortunately we can't get replays, but Zai was just free hitting, just laying down those feathers in the backline. And once she popped that whole chunk, I believe, of Morgana and Lulu's health bars just popped just because of that Blade Caller and that mid-game power spike Zaya is able to bring. So once again, as we saw down in that fight in the bot lane, Monash is coming back online right now, and I'm not sure if Melbourne University, even with the scaling of the Tristana, is able to even being able to, I can't even find my words here, even able to scale up to Monash.
That is completely fine. That is completely fine in this moment.
Team fighting potential. Sorry about that.
If Eri takes us over to the gold accumulation on the scoreboard, there is a very close gap between both teammates right now. Lulu has got in debt as the keystone, as she is in negative gold farm at the moment. We see Morgana with a 9,500 gold accumulation. Oriana is taking the lead at 10.1. We have Warwick in the lead at 9.4. Almost 1,000 gold in front of Zach. Maokai in the lead with 9,300 versus Poppy with a 9.2. They are keeping the match very close between one another. Gold accumulation is very close. The only noticeable difference is Oriana versus Morgana, with Oriana taking the lead, and the Tristana with a noticeable gold lead against Zaya. But as Tilly has already mentioned, Zaya is now becoming online. She is beginning to, close the gap between both of them. Even though both Tristana and Zaya are late game champions, Tristana had the early game advantage with the continuous ganks from Warwick and the successful ganks taking kills. But Zaya is now starting to close the gap as she is starting to get items. She is starting to unlock herself. She is almost at 100%. She is about to show us what it means to be a rebel.
Yeah, an interesting thing about how we're going to approach these late game team fights. If we look upon the side of a bit of trading down bot lane,
coming back towards mid lane, we seem to have a 4-man poke situation between both. Maokai and Poppy are both trading it off evenly in the bot lane. Maokai is resetting the bot lane, but Poppy is trying to deny her the ability to keep moving.
Advantage, though. She does have teleport advantage. Maokai,
coming in with infinite Thresh. Zach jumps in. The box has been unleashed by Thresh. Zach has come back in with the Let's Bounce. That is 1 kill towards Monash University. That is 2 kills towards Oriana. Coming towards the bot lane, we see Poppy versus Maokai. Poppy is at least 50% health. She is slowly holding herself on her own right now. She is barely able to holding her stance against this Maokai. Maokai is online, and he is showing them how much damage he can do. Warwick is trying to stay alive and prevent them from being able to take the Baron, using the Baron to his advantage, but unfortunately gets taken out as Death Sentence locks him down and secures 3 hits and the kill towards Monash University. And with that, Monash University have managed to claim 3 kills as well as a Baron buff in that single trade. Maokai has taken complete advantage of the lane, and with the Baron buff able to completely push it past that priority line, and the minions might actually take the turret very soon. They have the Baron buff ready. Will they take the turret? We'll find out very soon.
I don't think they'll be able to with now the Baron buff being removed, since Maokai has recalled, but it is still such a substantial chunk onto that bot lane tower. And as we can see now, once again, even though I believe it was a 4 versus 4, Monash still came out on top, as we saw Oriana with the shockwave being able to hit that back line, just chunk them for at least I think a third or even 2/3 of their health. So as you can see, with Monash being able to use Oriana in those team fights and Desire as well, I believe they will be able to outdamage the likes of Melbourne University.
Yes, Melbourne University are slowly trying to reset all lanes. Morgana over in the top, resetting towards that midpoint, pushing towards the tier 1 turrets, Gravestone. We see mid lane happening here. Monash University pushing it back to the midpoint. But unfortunately can't push it any further as they are met with Lessie and Shoots. Poppy comes in with a knock into the wall against Maokai. Maokai manages to dip himself out of there, gripping onto Warwick. Infinite Thresh has been popped. First the attack has been popped. That's 12 damage is active. Poppy is making damage on him. He unfortunately misses his charge and gets it against the minion. Maokai manages to get away with that slight little mishap.
If Poppy had landed that heroic charge, that would have been possibly a dead Maokai, but that simple misclick, Tristana now just tearing down that mid lane tower.
I was about to say, what isn't a misclick right now is that Tristana taking that middle tier 2 turret. That is going to be quite the situation that they are being put under right now. Let's Bounce has completely missed Crazy and Lessie. Oh, sorry, Crazy and Shoot, as they manage to retreat back towards their first inhibitor turret.
Yep, interesting that now even they were trying to push towards that inhibitor tower, but unfortunately they were not able to secure it. So, a bit Lessie going towards
a slight little poke. Oh, Featherstorm coming in by Oriana. Zaya coming in with a meet up. The stretchy slingshot has happened. Poppy has knocked Zac out of the fray. Maokai comes in with a grab, but Black Shield is active. Morgana is now left in a sticky situation, has been forcibly taken down by Oriana. Oriana is making plays, getting a stack on that ring. With that 3-man trade-off, Monash University have now managed to take that tier 2 turret, making the forward push to get that inhibitor turret. The Baron buff is still active. Thank you, Artillery. They are making towards the inhibitor. They are about to take that inhibitor. Are they going to push to end? We don't know. There is Poppy in the back line. He doesn't know what to do.
Still very, very
talented. Maokai is making pushes as he has demolished in his arsenal for both turrets. He is taking them down like a pile of bricks. Warwick is coming in to make the defense with Lulu in the back line. Unfortunately, can't do anything. Maokai has been polymorphed, but managed to get out of it. It's got his teeth.
Ooh.
Infinite Thresh has been active. Unfortunately, does not hit anybody. Warwick managed to claim 2 kills. Zaya takes 1. Monash University have been forced backwards as Melbourne are making the comeback. Dev Centers has been locked into Tristana. Zaya makes the play, gets the feathers, withdraws them, take down Warwick. Tristana has jumped out of the way. Let's Bounce has been used on Lulu. Has taken down Lulu. With that stopwatch active on Zaya, but unfortunately gets taken down by Crazy. Crazy is now making play. He has snared Zac. He's making push. Zac is trying to make for that Tristana. Tristana is on low health, but is still making that very grasping push. She's taking over the skin of the teeth, and she's making use of that skin.
Yeah, that was an excellent fight from both sides. Obviously, Zaya still being able to survive for so long despite all of the threats and only being able to take down, only being taken down by the Morgana Soul Shackles at the end of that fight. That was just amazing. Yeah, so right now we do see both of the teams slowly respawning back up. Obviously, Monash just overstayed that bit. We're looking to try and take down those 2 Nexus turrets and ultimately the Nexus. But the defense from Melbourne University was just able to hold out for that bit longer. Ooh, now we see a bit of
we see a slight little dance off between Maokai and Thresh against Lulu, Morgana, and Warwick, with Poppy and Tristana slowly making their way there. Warwick showing us what that skin is like to behold, and has given us a nice little flashy, base back as he gets himself out of the fray. The entire of Monash University make their way to the Dragon Pit and take down the Ocean Dragon. No, sorry, the Mountain Dragon. I am colorblind, folks.
Good.
Now they are making plays towards the bottom tier 2 turret. They are over in the East Jungle. They are trying to make a play here. Warwick and Tristana are out of position over in the North Jungle. Tristana takes the red buff and is now teleporting back to base. all 5 members of Monash are making
Monash
down
are
towards the tier
still
2
going
turret.
for the
They are getting
tower.
free push on the turret. Now they should be repeating back. They should retreat backwards as the extra defense against champion hit has been active. The minions are now pushing in. This is what it means to be aggressive, folks. You need your minions to be pushed up close to you when you go for that turret. Zach gets caught out with the snare. Gets pushed back into the wall by Poppy.
Ooh.
Featherstorm has been active, managed to take a chunk of Lulu's health and tickles Warwick. Warwick's infinite duress hits onto somebody.
Nature's Grasp.
Nature's Grasp happens. Poppy and Warwick take down Oriana to shut her down with that small little bounty. That is 3 kills on the side of Melbourne University. Melbourne University have seen no
0.
sign of shorting out. They are still making plays. We see both bot lane Kia and Momo Ling still alive, but they are in a spot of pickle.
Yeah, that was really interesting. At first, I thought Monash University had that aggressive down, but I think Zach just stepped a bit too far, and with the Cell Division passive not up, even with the Lantern, he was just CC chained into oblivion.
Yes, and as I look over towards the minimap, I see as well that while they were busy having that 5-man fight bot lane, the super minions have been making effort towards the middle lane itself, taking the Nexus turrets. Over in the mid lane, as we have just witnessed, Flourish gets caught out of turret, as well as Zaya get caught out on both sides of the mid lane and get taken out by a 4-man gank from 4 members of Melbourne University. And with that takedown, they are capitalizing on this by taking down the Baron. Zach is going to start stretching that slingshot to take the jump in, possibly take the grab. Can he flat? He managed to steal the Baron. He managed to get that knock up with everyone with a let's bounce, but unfortunately it was for naught as Warwick comes in and kills the kill. That is 2 players on the side of Monash University with that Baron buff. Will they make use of this Baron buff? So far, Melbourne University are trying to deny them any form of capability. Infinite duress has been used on Maokai. Maokai has been locked down. He manages to run towards the wall and jumps over it. Pressy Tech has been active, but he gets away. Featherstorm has been active. Donny's Hourglass has popped to save Morgana. Warwick is coming back into the fray to take down Oriana. Tristana continuing the trade, trying to get that, get that double kill happening. He comes in close. That redemption has been popped. What?
Buster shot.
Oriana gets taken down by the Buster shot, but unfortunately gets pushed backwards as Tristana gets caught out by Zaya and gets taken down by those feathers.
Now we can see Poppy
Those
still
quills
pushing.
are proving to show us how deadly they really are, artillery.
Yeah, geez. I mean, so many
Coming
times.
towards the mid lane, we see Poppy actually making a backdoor, taking down the inhibitor turret, now allowing the minions to push towards the inhibitor. That is, so far, we're about to see a complete mirror matchup now. We see only 2 turrets, 2 inhibitor turrets alive. We see a tier 2 turret in the bot lane in favor of Monash. Monash still have that turret with almost full health, whereas unfortunately Melbourne University are very low with that turret. That turret can be easily taken down if they decide to push that bot lane.
Yeah, and considering Monash did manage to secure the Baron, but unfortunately, with Anubis and Sigma Squared dying, there's no Baron to anyone. Not even Zaya and Thresh, since they were still dead from that engage in the mid lane. So that's the Baron gone.
Yes, unfortunately, that is pretty much a wasted Baron right there. As you said, Baron is completely gone. And that is, even though that is a wasted Baron, in my opinion, Monash University have done well to prevent Melbourne University from being able to, claim that Baron buff and completely push to try and potentially win the game. Because Melbourne University are still online, they are still active, but Monash are starting to catch up to them. They are making plays, they are catching up in the gold, they are catching up with the kills. The gold between the two is very close. Melbourne University are still in front. Speak of being in front, Zach managed to slingshot in and let's bounce, but manages to bounce nobody backwards as both Lulu and Tristana get away with a full set of health. Poppy comes in from the back line. That is a flash from Oriana right there as a shield has been popped. That look at the Iron Slow has been used. Poppy is now large. We see a Zach being zoned down. Warwick is trying to continue. They are locking down on that Zach, but that teleport comes in and protects him for that split second, securing 2 kills towards Monash University. Tristana managed to take down Zach, but unfortunately that is not enough, as that is a 4-man cleanup. on the side of Monash University, and Monash University have taken down the inhibitor. Now they're going to take that. There are no Nexus turrets left. They are making the play. This is going to be game 2 for Monash University, and the complete win for Monash University, leading 2-0.
Ooh, damn. I mean, that's the power of Zaya. That's basically the power of Zaya, and with Maokai and with Zac, and of course, Thresh, as you could just see, just going after his feathers. I mean, Kia has to be one of the best Zaya players I've ever seen, considering there is a Poppy, a Warwick, and even a Morgana jumping into the fray, trying to CC, trying to lock down, just trying to kill the Rebel. But obviously,
Yes,
Monash comes out on top.
that is completely true. The complete matchup between both were very even. But unfortunately, as we can see, a special congratulations to Monash University for being the ultimate winner in the end. Melbourne University, you have proven to us how formidable you are, how much you can come online, how much you can come back from that. You had the lead in game 2, but unfortunately, Monash University managed to catch you out and keep that lead, keep that advantage in play. If anything, Monash managed to turn it around in the end. That is all we have for you here tonight, folks, between Monash and Melbourne University. I hope you have a safe and wonderful night, especially for those who might be down here in Adelaide with this giant heat wave we are happening here tonight. I am Lux. I am joined with Mini Artillery. Thank you very much for tuning in, folks, and we wish to see you come back again next time. Until then, peace out.
Good night.
in the microphone are changed into impulses of electric current.
No need to worry about your pre-recorded music tapes being accidentally erased. It can't happen.
suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. With crimson secrets and forbidden bliss, can't stay still, don't stop that thrill. My bones crave your skin, temptation within, mistake.